Good morning. So I was writing on my journal this morning, Monday morning at 8 a.m., and I went through a whole thought process that I thought was really interesting. And I know people can relate to this because I've had a lot of conversations like these with some friends. So I wanted to share it. So basically, I've been trying to implement journaling as part of my morning routine. And today I wanted to write about what I'm grateful for because I feel like, especially with the year we've had, 2020, it had a lot of challenges. And I feel like sometimes it was just hard to be grateful for really simple things like, you have a roof over your head, you have food in your fridge, you have a safe space where you can go to bed at night. Like, it's just things that we kind of take for granted sometimes. So I wanted to write about that. I wanted to just list out all the things that I was grateful for. I just feel like I did not express gratitude as much as I should have, or as much as I would have liked to in the last year. And I kind of went through this whole thought process of like, wow, if I think about me having a roof over my head, like, that's not something that was always certain growing up. Having food in the fridge, that also wasn't something that was certain. Being able to make rent at the end of the month is also something that I didn't have certain when I was little. We growing up, I didn't have financial stability, and now I don't know if I can say I'm fully financially stable, but at least I don't have to worry about potentially, losing my apartment because I couldn't pay rent, which is not something I had the luxury of having when I was younger. And it also brought me to think about, how I got to this point, how I got to having my own apartment, how I got to feeling safe in my own home. And it also brought me to the way that people always call me mature. Let me tell you, sometimes I'm just like, really? Me? Little old me? So I started thinking, why do they always say you're very mature for your age? Like, why do they have to add for your age? Like, what do they expect me to act like at this age? And I guess, it kind of made me think of how I grew up and everything that led me to be this way. And this is kind of where I stopped to write, because usually I kind of like think of the prompt and just sort of like think about it, digest it, and like I start talking to myself in the mirror like with compassion, like a friend, because you got to be your own best friend sometimes. And I talk to myself, I have a conversation about the prompt, and then when I get to a good talking point, I start writing, and usually the writing turns out to be pretty good and something I can go back to as like a lesson learned, sort of. And then when I finished writing a few sentences, I was like, you know what, I kind of want to share this. Like I want to share this. I want to hear what other people think about it. If you get called mature for your age, what you think that means. But this is where I stopped to write, and this is what I wrote. I'm stuck between different versions of myself. Someone I'm expected to be, someone I want to be, and someone I need to be. As an undocumented person, it's hard to live the life you want to live when there are many external factors at play that you can't control. My future is not certain. It never was. And as an adult, I've become more aware of that reality. So I think I've become more aware about why I'm called mature for my age. For example, in the first sentence I wrote that I'm stuck between the different versions of myself. The one that I am expected to be is that traditionally Mexican expectation, where you live with your parents until you are off to get married, and then you move in with your husband. There's like a certain expectation that your culture and your family kind of puts on you, and that's one version of myself that sometimes you feel kind of stuck if like you should follow it, you should honor it. And then there's the other version of who I want to be, and this is that little kid in me who said, when I'm 21, I'm gonna go have fun, I'm gonna do all these things. And reality is, I have to think about my future, or kind of like my well-being. I have to I guess think about more long term, even though sometimes it's really hard and really painful to think long term when you're undocumented and you don't know how long you have in one place. But yeah, it's a reality. You know, you have to realize that it's not possible for you to do all the things you wanted to do because there's just some certain basic needs you have right now. And that led me to the person that I need to be, and the person who I am now, and the person that gets called too mature for your age. Um, so yeah, this is just a thought process I had. It's just really interesting to me how, you know, when you're undocumented, and I mean, I'm sure this happens in other circumstances too, not just to undocumented people, but in my experience, being undocumented, not being financially stable, you know, always kind of living in uncertainty, and then the last year being uncertain for everyone, regardless of who you are or where you come from, like, you have to grow up really fast sometimes. And I feel like sometimes we take for granted everything we've achieved, all the hard work we've put into simply being able to be safe, simply being able to survive. Like, we've made it this far, and everything you've experienced, everything you've lived, your entire journey is unique to you. No one has gone through the exact same things you've been through, and that is what makes you bring so much value, and it makes you so unique in any table that you're sitting in. So I think that also kind of helps us realize that we're worthy, right? That even if we're called too mature for our age, even if we want to wear it as a badge of honor, just realize that none of this was handed to you, that you worked for it, so you deserve to be here. I just needed to remind myself of that, to be honest. I've been having a hard week where I just kind of feel like an imposter. I tend to feel unworthy sometimes because in my profession because I don't have a master's degree. Even if I'm working towards it, in my mind, I'm just like, I'm not good enough. I don't have the qualifications. Even if I have, you know, so much experience in the field, like, I still felt not good enough to apply to like this higher position, to ask for a promotion or to ask for a raise. Like, all these things, you just don't feel like you're worthy of it. But we're here for a reason, and we've made it this far on our own through our hard work. We are so deserving of everything we have in our lives and everything we've accomplished. And I think it's a beautiful thing to just take a moment to think back of everywhere you've been, and maybe even everywhere you want to go. Like, let's dream, let's think big, let's plan for that future, let's plan for that house, let's plan for our retirement. Like, it's a possibility. You know, we have a new administration, we have a new year, new energy in the world. Anything is possible. So with that, you know, I'll leave you to the rest of your week. It's Monday morning right now at like 8 a.m. So I'm gonna get to work real soon. Thank you for listening to my little coffee talk. It was supposed to be a coffee talk. I forgot about my coffee. I got too into the conversation. So I'm gonna go heat this up because it got cold already, and I'm gonna get my day started. I hope y'all have a great week. Bye.